You see, when you're in a hobby like this, sometimes your taste changes. Sometimes you outgrow certain fragrances or you grow into certain fragrances. And I'll admit that has happened with me a lot. I've changed my mind on a number of fragrances, and that's just something that you'll find will happen as you progress through this hobby. You try different things, you try new things, you try scents that you've never really wanted to try before. It's really a good way to progress your taste, and you'll find after you try certain different types of scents and your nose starts to change a little, there will be certain fragrances that you used to like in the past that you just don't really like anymore, or vice versa, fragrances that you didn't like but now you really like. And I'm going to be covering both sides of the spectrum here. In this video, we're going to be going over 7 fragrances that I changed my mind on. But I do want to hear from you guys though. Let me know down in the comments, what are some fragrances that you changed your mind on? What are some ones that you hated the first time you smelled it and now you love, or the other way around? And of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also turn on post notifications and give this video a like. And now let's go and jump into this. Starting off with the first fragrance, we have Office for Men. Fragrance 1, Office for Men. I did a re-review on this scent, and that got some hate. That got some backlash. And the truth is that I really do appreciate the scent now. I really do enjoy it. It does fit in with a lot of the other blue types of fragrances out there, but it's got this pepperiness and this spicy twist on those other scents that I do appreciate. It is a strong fragrance. It does last a long time. And at the end of the day, it does what it's intended to do. It is an expensive fragrance and it does resemble a lot of other scents, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad fragrance. And just to set the record clear, I never hated on this fragrance to begin with. I mean, if you watch my first review, which is still up, which a lot of people failed to do, I never hated on the scent. I was very neutral in that video and I was very fair about it. I didn't bash it. I didn't hate on it. That's because I never hated this fragrance to begin with. So for anyone saying that I went from hating it to loving it just for views or whatever, that's not the case. The evidence is in the first video I did. Second fragrance up, we have Baccarat Rouge 540. So this fragrance caught a lot of hype when it first came out. And eventually, I ended up grabbing a sample of it because I'm like, you know what? I want to get in on this. I want to see what it's all about because the note breakdown looked pretty interesting to me. And a lot of people were saying that it's a fantastic scent. So I really was curious. Well, I got a sample of it and I really did not know what to think. It had this like latex glove, dentist office smelling type of thing going on. It was just different and I really did not like it. And I was disappointed. I'm like, I was really hoping this would be something that I would like and I would want to wear. That just wasn't the case. However, there was something about it that kept intriguing me. I kept going back to my sample. I kept smelling it, and over time, something changed. Something kind of clicked in my head, I guess, and I ended up really starting to like it a lot. And then eventually I ended up with 2 partial bottles. I got this one here, and then I've also got a 200 ml bottle, which is quite a bit bigger than this one, and no other reason than I like the scent. So I have bottles of it now. And that's just one of those things where I kept going back to it, I kept trying it, and at the same time I kept exploring other types of fragrances, and I think something just kind of changed where I really started to appreciate this. And the scent, I love it. I really do love it. It smells phenomenal. It's like nothing I've ever smelled before. It's high quality, it's strong, it's long lasting, it's unique. It's just a great scent that in the beginning I didn't really like that much, but now it's one of my personal favorites. Up next we have Karl Lagerfeld Bois de Vetiver. So I don't have my bottle out here with me, but I do own a bottle, and I've also done a review on it, which you can check that video out. It's not what I was expecting, and the more time I spent with it and the more times I wore it, I just kind of liked it less and less. It's not a bad fragrance. It's nice. It's like a $20 scent. You can't really beat any fragrance for $20 in my opinion. I mean, unless it's really bad, but this isn't really bad. It's not a bad scent. It's just not my thing. It's called Bois de Vetiver, and the reason why I picked it up was because it has vetiver in the name, so I figured it was going to be the prominent note. And while there is a good amount of vetiver in that scent, it's not a vetiver fragrance, in my personal opinion. There are fragrances, for example, Terre d'Hermès, which has a prominent vetiver note. Even Elysium by Roja has a very prominent vetiver note, more so than Bois de Vetiver. So I didn't really like it that much, and just kind of the mix of the spices and the grapefruit with that vetiver, there was a little bit of clash in my opinion, and it just didn't quite mix very well, and I didn't like it that much the more I wore it. Again, I do still have it, and I don't really necessarily plan on getting rid of it just because it's not expensive and I can just keep it or whatever, but it's not one I really plan on wearing. Hey, real quick, do you want access to some bonus videos and some behind the scenes stuff? If you click that join button next to the subscribe button on my channel, you can look at our channel membership tiers. We have 3 different tiers. The first one for $1.99 gets you access to bonus reviews, basically videos that don't make it here on the channel, fragrance reviews and lists. On top of that, you also get access to any sort of other bonus content like vlogs or stuff unrelated to fragrance. Really, it's going to be guided by you guys, the members. Whatever other types of content you want to see, you can suggest it and I can make it happen. So make sure you check it out, channel memberships, click that join button. That helps to support the channel so I can keep producing more content for you guys. Next here we have Bulgaria Aqua Marine. So this one has been a hyped fragrance for quite a while now. It's gotten a lot of talk from people who really like aquatic scents, and when I first got this fragrance and I tried it and I smelled it, I wasn't really that impressed. It has a relatively prominent floral component, kind of like Aqua Amara does. It's got that in this fragrance, and that kind of put me off. I really like Bulgaria Aqua Atlantique. I still do prefer it over this, and it's my favorite out of the Aqua line. But again, when I first tried this one, that floral component mixing with some other stuff just didn't do it for me, and I was disappointed because I looked forward to trying this for a long time. You guys know I love my aquatic fragrances. That's kind of what I started out with. When I started my collection was aquatics. I've always been partial to aquatics. Now my taste is starting to change more towards stuff with a little bit more depth, and really more specifically more just towards citrus fragrances. Like when I was just starting out, my summer fragrances basically were all aquatics. Now I'm kind of away from the aquatics to some extent, and I'm into the more citrus based fragrances. But kind of off topic there, Aqua Amara or Aqua Marine, didn't like that much when I first got it, but over time I have come around to it to the point now where I do appreciate it quite a bit, and I do like it. Again, still not my favorite, still prefer Atlantique, but it is a nice scent, and anyone after a straight up aquatic fragrance, this one would be a great one to go with. I mean, the bottle looks amazing. The smell really does smell aquatic. It's a nice scent for people who are into it. Up next here we have Chanel Edition Blanche. So this was another hype monster fragrance that got a lot of talk, a lot of praise, and one that I just took a while to try. Main reason is just because Chanel fragrances are expensive. You typically can't find these discounted that often, and because of that I just put it off because that is a pretty expensive blind buy, and at the time I was kind of going for some more affordable scents. So I put it off for the longest time, but I really wanted to try it because it gets a lot of praise from a lot of people. When I finally got my bottle and I tried it, I wasn't all that impressed. I still do prefer the original Allure Homme Sport and Allure Homme Sport Extreme over this one. And even though that is still the case, I have come around to like this fragrance more. I really like the lemon component in this one. Nice, fresh, and like somewhat gourmand for summertime. I do enjoy it now. When I first got it, I was not impressed and I was pretty let down. It is a great quality scent with moderate performance. It is a Chanel fragrance and they do fragrances very well. Again, my preference is still Allure Homme Sport Extreme and Allure Homme Sport. I'll always pick those over this one, but I have come around to like this one a lot more, and I do think it's a pretty nice summer fragrance. Next we have Versace Man. So this is the purple bottle Versace Man, not the blue one. You guys know I love Versace Man Eau Fresh. However, this one I just don't like that much anymore. As you can see, my bottle is empty, and no, I didn't wear all that. That is just from like splitting and decanting and whatever else. But Versace Man, tobacco, saffron, some other sweeter notes. So it is the complete opposite of Versace Man Eau Fresh, which is light, musky, citrusy. This one's a little bit darker, has more of a masculine component to it. It's quite a bit different. And it's also important to note that this one is discontinued. I believe you can still pick it up easily on discounters because it has been discontinued for a while. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you want it, get it now. If you don't want it, then you don't have to worry about it. It's going to go away at some point. But Versace Man is, a nice scent. It's nice quality. It's got nice performance. For the people who like it, it's a great scent. For me, it's just not my cup of tea. And in the beginning, I did like it quite a bit. I'm like, wow, this is something nice and different. But at this point now, it's not something that I really want to wear. And finally, last fragrance on this list, Hollister Free Wave. So I bought this just because the note breakdown looked pretty cool. There's a note of algae in this fragrance, I believe is what it is. So, I'm like, that's pretty cool. Smelling it, I just don't really vibe with it that much. It doesn't smell bad, but it's just not something that I would ever wear anymore. I did a review on it and I said it was nice and something different, but as time went on, I wore it a few more times over the summer, and I just kind of came to the conclusion that, it's not my favorite thing. There are other fragrances in my collection that I much prefer over this one, and it's just not something I want to wear all that often in the summer. It's okay. It's a Hollister fragrance, but I do think there are better ones out there from Hollister and just in general. So guys, that's going to do it for me. That are 7 fragrances that I've changed my mind on. And again, this is something that's going to happen when you're in this hobby. Your taste is going to change. Your opinions on fragrances is going to change and evolve. That's just kind of what goes on. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know down in the comments which fragrances you've changed your mind on. And that's going to do it for me. So thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow night with another video. Take care.